It's almost 11 p.m., so let's do this. We're good. I'm going to ask you guys a silly question, and I want you guys to think about it in both directions. The receiving end, but also giving it out, dishing it out. And so I'll rephrase the question to fit both premises. Have you ever been in like elementary school or even high school or college or work, any social setting, and there's just one person that you cannot stand for absolutely no reason? Or have you been on the receiving end of this? Have you been at one of these social settings and then someone can't stand you and you don't know why? You haven't given them any reason to. I've been on both ends of the spectrum, but today we're talking about Snyder fans who are absolutely on one side of that spectrum for the new Superman movie for whatever reason it is. So let's get suited up and let's talk about it because I love Superman. Quick shout out to my boy Connor Kent, Superboy, who is literally me. I have those glasses. I have his name. I wear leather jackets sometimes if I feel like it, so James Gunn, what are we doing? What are we doing? I'll shave if I need to. I'll pick up some weights. Come on, man, call me. Get in the comments section, reach out. The character of Superman has been so wildly misunderstood and twisted throughout hundreds of different types of media. And it's really easy to do when there's so many different ways you can interpret different characters. However, truth, justice, and better tomorrow are the core of Clark Kent. And this is the best way to describe a Superman story because it embodies hope. It embodies everything that Superman needs to embody. Superman isn't interesting because he struggles physically. Superman is interesting because he is given all this power, and yet every time he is given the right, he wants to make the right choice that helps the most amount of people. Power didn't corrupt him. In fact, he had always had power, and so you can't really corrupt him with power if he already had the power. Is this making sense? I feel like that. Let me restart this. Power typically corrupts when it's something that you gain. Power is something that doesn't necessarily corrupt, but it highlights all of your aspects, good and bad, and the bad ones typically shine the most. But with Clark Kent, his power was given to him at birth. He already had this. Not to mention, if the power did highlight anything, it was his truth, his justice, and his hope for a better tomorrow, and helping people. Superman is such a beautiful character because while all of these characters are given power and have these struggles, Superman is the blueprint. You have to understand, Superman is so interesting because not only was he one of the firsts, but he is the blueprint. He is the good guy. He is the Superman. He is the superhero. I don't think there's any other way I can word it for you that I haven't already said, basically. Henry Cavill understood this. Henry Cavill applauded the idea of himself being Superman, but he knew that it was going in a different direction for what Zack Snyder wanted. This was true with Batman. This was true with the entire Snyderverse. I mean, the fact that Batman is older and kills people, like the fact that Superman is dark. He's much more of a godly figure. Quick little afterthought while editing. I think that the best way to describe Superman as filmed by Zack Snyder is probably, what if Zack Snyder watched Kill Bill Volume 2, heard the Superman monologue about how Clark Kent is the alter ego and Superman is his true identity because he landed with the S symbol and then was given the suit, tie, and glasses, so that is his true costume, and Clark Kent is just a parody of humans. I think that Zack Snyder heard something along those lines and said, let's make this a movie. Let's dig into this concept deeper. And I think that's a beautiful monologue, and I think that's a beautiful idea. The monologue, though, is beautiful because it is a misunderstanding of the character of Superman. Because, yeah, he landed in that in his S emblem, but he was raised as Clark Kent. He was raised as a Kansas farm boy and a truth, justice, better tomorrow seeker. You could say, I guess. So while I think Zack Snyder really does understand the Superman character, he was just trying to go for a different audience, a different tone, a different take, which is good. I applaud that idea, and I encourage people to do that more, especially when adapting things from one medium to a different medium. You don't tell a story in a video game the same way you tell a story in a comic book, the same way you tell a story in a movie or a show. Each one of them are split up differently. TV shows need more fillers. Video games need more side stories. Movies, you gotta fit that into 2 hour periods or make a bunch of movies with sequels, and they gotta be entertaining, worthwhile to watch. So you don't tell every story the same way. And when you have so many years of comics by so many different people writing them, you got to adapt and you got to take a little bit from everything and just kind of do your own thing with the character. Um, but the thing is, Superman doesn't see himself as Superman being this godlike figure. He's going to save time to make sure he's helping the little guy. He's going to make sure that he's helping cats out of trees. He's going to be hopeful and see a better tomorrow every single day. And so, the most important and core factor that I want in my Superman is that he is Clark Kent. Clark Kent needs almost as much screen time as Superman because he was raised as Clark Kent. Sure, the title of the movie is Superman, and I want to see him do some spectacular things with his powers, but his heart needs to be in it, and his heart is Clark Kent. Even if, even if that's not his real name, all right? Clark Kent is not his secret identity. It is his identity, and Superman is his secret identity, all right? It's why him and Batman are such perfect foils. Batman's such an interesting character because he has so many foils, but that's a whole nother video where we can go on about Joker, where we can go on about Robin, we can go on about Superman, all being foils of different pieces of Batman's character, which is why people say, oh, this person would be such a good cast for this actor when it comes to comic books. And it really depends on the story that you want to tell. Do you want to tell a story where you're paralleling Batman with Robin? Do you want to tell a story where you're paralleling Batman with Superman? Do you want to tell a story where you're paralleling Batman with Joker? It really depends on what you're casting for in that case. You gotta remember that. There's so many different comic lines, there's so many different story arcs, and there's so many different complexities to these characters, and it makes sense when it's written by 50 to hundreds of different comic book writers and authors throughout the span of 80 years. But I had to get this video rant out because I wanted to say I have hope for Superman, and I wanted to get other people hyped up for Superman. Now, at the very beginning of this video, I kind of threw a stray at Snyder fans, and I apologize, but a lot of Snyder fans online are acting up. You don't need to be offended if it's not you, but just know a lot of other Snyder fans, they're being very rude about this movie. We'll leave it at that. But I wanted to make this video because I have so much hope and so much passion for comic book movies, and Superman being one of them. And I'm just very excited to get this new setup up, and I had to get this video out just to say, Superman's coming, whether you like it or not. You don't have to enjoy it, but just understand that at its core, this is a comic book movie. I mean, from Green Lantern's bowl cut hair to Truth, Justice, and Better Tomorrow Superman, this is for comic book fans of Superman. We've had emo Superman, and don't get me wrong, it was a great lens for storytelling, for if that's your thing. And I grew up with that Superman, and I love Henry Cavill, so I have some appreciation for Man of Steel. I have some appreciation for Zack Snyder's Justice League and all that. But through and through, I'm hyped. David Cornsweet looks good in the role. Lex Luthor looks cool as hell. I'm excited to see this universe grow. I'm excited for the potential. I mean, how are we gonna hate when we haven't even seen it yet? We don't know what to expect. We don't know what heat is about to come. And to be fair, I can't even say what heat is about to come. I can't say that it's going to be good. But I can tell you from what I've seen and from what I hope, I have high hopes. And I don't plan on being let down. All right, I'm pretty excited for this film, and I absolutely cannot wait to see it. But yeah, I wanted to get this out there as soon as possible. So, to everyone who's with me, to truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. Good.